Hi all. Sociology of Education, third semester, M.Ed TNTU, syllabus oriented class. Unit 3, Process of Socialization. In this class, focus on three topics: education as a social system, education as a social process, education as a social progress. Education as a social system. About social system, already discussed in Unit 2. Please watch it. Concept is the function as whole. They bound in oneness by norms and values. Social system may be described as an arrangement of social interaction based on shared norms and values. Education as a social system, it has a definite social structure in it, and there is an interaction between different parts of that system. If there is a social interaction, we can say that a social organization is a social system. Education system is composed of many distinct subsystems or parts. These each part have their own goals and they come together to achieve that goals. Each part is dependent on the other for smooth functioning of that system. So Willard Waller gives 5 reasons for education to be regarded as a social system. Education has a social structure in it as a result of a social interaction with the different constituents. These constituents have a feeling of belongings. The whole concept of the social system is bounding oneness. These individual interactions makes they bound in strong social relationships, and it poses on culture, traditions and way of doing things. So education as a social system, it has a social structure and it has a feeling of belongings and it has a strong social relationships. Education helps in transmitting folkways and more institutionalized pattern in social organization. Education transmitted from traditional way and now it is in an institutional pattern. All the individuals have a certain duties and functions and responsibility to do. Like teachers have their own duties, administrative staff has that certain duties, and all are assigned with different duties and responsibility for the smooth functioning of the system. Purpose of the education is the development of knowledge, skills and character. It prepares living skills, knowledge and what all the things needed for the society. The education provided with resource building and personnel, parents, teachers, students, etc. for the functioning of that system. As a social system, education has a formal and informal structure. In formal structure, it has administrative function, and in informal, there is a social relationship. Informal system, it carries parents, teachers and students. Education system exists in a large societal context including local community, state and central government. The rules and regulations are followed by state and local community that are implemented by central government. For the public schools, the funding and all coming from the central government. Education system is where people building textbooks and equipment interact with each other in social environment. It emphasizes on the process of synthesizing the society with cultural values, socio-economic, political system with the need of the individual. These all are interconnecting by the education system. Education system actually synthesize all the internal skills of the individual, and it will help diverse individual in the society and making as a good citizen for the society. And childcare program is always under pressure due to the pressure from the community. The human interaction within a education system may be described as a social system. Hence, we can say that education is as a social system. Moving to the next topic, education as a social process. Education as a social process. Social process refer to the form of social interactions that occurs repeatedly. Because education is a lifelong process, it occurs repeatedly. That interaction is repeating all the time. It is a non-stop process. Emily Durkheim, a French education sociologist, has explained the role of education for the socialization of a child. Education is influence exercised by the adult generation. This influence of the adult generations given to those who are not ready for social life. And its object is to arouse and develop the child a certain number of physical, intellectual and moral traits that are demanded of him by the society. Education is actually a socialization of young generation by adult generation. As a social institution, school has to perform function of a socialization. The child learn patterns of behaviors needed to good life in the society. Now, most of the child is in the school and they will utilize to learn different social things. Most important function of education is preservation of culture and civilization. Every society has their own customs, conversion, tradition, norms, art and religions, which is inherited from the ancient period. Process of socialization, education helps to hand over these cultural values and behavior pattern of the society, and they are handed over to young generation by the adult generation. In this process of socialization, students acquire knowledge of cultural values and different norms of the society. School also provide democratic climate or democratic environment which helps the students to acquire the democratic norms. Another important function, school education, a process of living through continuous reconstruction of individuals, which enables students to control his environment and fulfill their possibilities. School also encourages students to participate in various kind of co-curricular activities. These activities helps to develop leadership among themselves. In school, students can attend social service camp, social functions and annual functions, so that social norms and values, namely sympathy, cooperation, tolerance, social awareness, all of them studying while attending these camps or functions. The school develops social dealing in all children. As a continuous and dynamic process, they will teach cultural values, democratic values, adjustment among the students, and they behave properly in the society. This shows that education as a process of socialization. Moving to the next topic, education as a social progress. Education as a social progress, it will improve or it will expand the development situation of the individual. Like education is a process of learning and expanding culture, and it's contribute to improvement of human condition. All the conditions of the human is improved through education as a social progress. Like better knowledge, health, living conditions, all improved through getting an education. The central tool for social progress is equity, social equity and productivity. Education expected to foster social progress through four different but interrelated purposes. One is humanistic, civic, economic, social equity and justice. Social progress through humanistic way is like the development of individual virtues to their full extent. By civic, it enhances public life and active participation in democratic society. By economic, providing individuals with intellectual and practical skills that make them productive and enhance their and society living conditions. Social equity and social justice foster social progress. Education as a social progress, it helps to develop productive skills, and this is valuable for the individual to advance in their labor market and for society. And it will improve and maintain prosperity and compete in globalized economy. Education develops civil skills, and this is valuable for the individual to allow for meaningful participation in civil society and political life. For society, it will benefit from an informed and engaged citizenship. Education develops human talents and interests. This is valuable for them for their personal flourishing. And for society, the expansion of knowledge and human achievements are valuable for their own sake. Education can vehicle for equity and greater social inclusions. When this social inclusion and social equity is absent, that society is poorly delivered or unfairly distributed. This will make injustice and greater social exclusion. Most visible indicators of social progress is the expansion of formal education. From primary level to higher education level, formal education is expanding. This is the most visible indicator of social progress, which was a part of emergence of the nation states and modern economics. Due to this expansion, education creates complex web of institutions that is distributed according to different paths along the life course. From earlier education through the school cycle to final higher educations. Continuing with the portion of lifelong education, formal education gives the path to lifelong education. If there is a breaks or cleavages in the web of this institution, that is the unsynchronized development of the different region of that nations, and it will reflect diverse and multiple historical origins. These all highlights the importance of education as a social system, education as a social process, education as a social progress. Now we can just summarize what all the things we studied in this class. In this class, first I spoke about education as a social system. Education as a social system, education system have a social structure. Social structure refers to the pattern of social relationship in a society. Such structures regulate the interaction among the member of the societies. Social relationship as a informal functions. That social relationship is maintained by parents, teachers, students, parents, etc. And as a formal function, there is an administrative wing in all educational systems, a definite role and play to perform in this system. And it has local community participation is there, state government participation is there, and central government participation is there. Central government implement different rules and regulation for the smooth functioning of this organization. And it has built-in textbooks and interactive material. It's a pressure from community because they are doing childcare programs. Coming to education as a social process, it is exercised by adults and they are transforming or transmitting the traditions and cultural values to their next generation. And they will give more importance to physical, intellectual, and moral development. They will preserve of tradition and norms of the society. In social process, there is a democratic climate in the institution, and they will provide co-curricular activities, social camps for understanding, sympathy, cooperation, etc. And as a social process, it is a continuous reconstruction of an individual. Coming to social progress, it is giving more importance to improvement of living condition of the individual. It also focuses on human talents, interest, and productivity. The productivity and social equity is central tool of social progress. And to foster social progress, humanistic, civic, and economic social equity and justice. As a social progress, it gives lifelong education and life courses to the individual. It contains web of institutions like formal education for lifelong courses. Education as a social progress seen by the expansion of web of institution as formal education from primary level to higher education level. It will give lifelong courses for the individual for their social progress. If any break in the web of institution, that will create a unsynchronized progress in the region of that country. That concludes what is education as a social system, social progress, and social process. Hope you understand these concepts. Thank you for listening. Please send your valuable feedback. Keep watching. This is me, Salim.